some of the guiding principles that I followed, which was probably coming from being an athlete. I had to throw it in there somewhere.
You played Division I field hockey?
I played Division I field hockey,
Okay.
and I was a defenseman, which makes sense as far as why I'm okay sitting next to Mary, who's very aggressive and going forward, because I'll make sure she doesn't screw up. And when she sells something, I'll actually figure out how to do it. So we don't lose the client because of what she sold, right? She's been very creative, and I need her because she's very creative, but I got to figure out how to fix it. So within the Fidelity complex, I'm known as a fixer. And one of the things that I was going to encourage you all to think about as you're going through your career is, what's your brand? So I talked about when I first joined Fidelity, and I was sitting in that conference room, and 19, 25, 30 guys walked in. It was me. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I was sitting forward. And I wanted to be respected. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be heard. And again, I'm a defensive nature. I'm comfortable with who I am. And I'm comfortable in the position that I took. And that kind of goes back to when you have to like what you do. So, but the unexpected part, I guess, is, one of my biggest, I'll say, failures and the learnings when I first started my career is I had mentioned, I had accepted a co-op job. I graduated. I said, get me over the mutual fund side. And similar, I got these accolades and these promotions, and I'm thinking I'm really kind of got it going, And I said, you know what, I can do that job. And so I asked to be transferred over into a mutual fund calculating an NAV, a net asset value. So what does that mean? It means figuring out what's the value of a security on a daily basis. And there's all these corporate acquisitions. You got venture capitalists out there buying and selling companies, this, that, and the other. And I had a really large book of business that I was responsible for. And back then, computers are not what they are today, and the automation is not there. So you had to do a lot of manual switching of flags. You had to flip something open to get something to happen, and the nav, and this, that, and the other, and roll it all forward, and this, that, and the other. And so, again, I'm sitting pretty, thinking I'm doing a great job, and then all of a sudden, 3 days before someone's distributing their income to their shareholders, lo and behold, I forgot to flip the flag back. Mm. And so the amount of income that's supposed to be distributed was so wrong. And I felt like such a failure. I'm like, am I going to be fired? I don't know what to do. I want to go home. And I was crying. I'm like, I did the best I could. And I picked myself back up, went back into the office. I told my boss and looked at me like, what did you do? And I'm like, well, this is what I did. The guy next to me did the same thing, but he remembered. I forgot, whatever. Controls risk, right? This is part of the whole process. So what I really learned from that is it's not your failures. Your failures actually are your successes, because it's what you do with a failure, and it's what you learn from it that really is going to help you throughout your career. I'm sure Mary has a lot of failures she won't tell you about.
As long as I only do each one once.
That's the big thing. But
there's so many to do, right?
There's so many to do. And when I was thinking about how to answer this, I had this laundry list, and I figured, let me go back to when I first started in the career, because I think that probably resonates most. And really what taught me is, one, we all make mistakes. You have a team around you that are going to help you. And you need to learn from it. Again, I never did it again. Never again. And it was a catapult. Again, it's paying more attention, being proud of what you do, making sure you have people double check kind of what you do in those critical moments, and then how do you innovate? And Mary talked a little bit about innovation. And innovation is how do you prevent that from happening again? What kind of things can you enhance, et cetera?